So I got a YouTube page, right? Y'all go look me up, Culture Chaplain. I'll put the YouTube link down in my comments. And if you're on Instagram, I think you can find it in my bio. But anyways, somebody commented on it talking about they're the true Israel, Christians, and it caused me to go on this whole trail. I responded simply Romans chapter 9, but then I went back and I read it for myself as well, because I like to, look at what I tell other people to look at. And, in finishing listening to it, it totally debunks Hebrew Israelites, and it also debunks the Christians that would say that they replace Israel. Because I think that both of them have the same problem. Hebrew Israelites have the same problem that a Christian would have. Christian, is quick to claim faith and all of this other stuff, but not have any faith. Hebrew Israelites, we already know they rock with the law or whatever the case may be. Go read Romans chapter 9. It totally debunks, for sure, Hebrew Israelites. People that think that, because they follow the law, because they're ethnic Israel, or supposedly that, that supports what they are, when it doesn't. And Romans chapter 9 will tell you that. Also, the children of God, the true Israel, are the children of promise. Those who simply believe in what God has said. The reason why this is dangerous for Christians is because you think that you replace Israel. Israel is still valid. Ethnic Israel is still valid. The covenants and the promises and everything did in fact come to them. There are Israelites that are really of Israel, and there are people that are of Israel that are not really Israelites. At the end of the day, God squashes all of that and says that if you're not a child of promise, you're not of Israel. And what determines if you're a child of promise is if you believe as God would have you to believe. There's plenty of people in church that believe that they replace Israel somehow, and somehow they're better. But Scripture says in Romans that the law has concluded all of us under sin. There's no not righteous, no not one. Not because you're a Jew, not because you're not a Jew, not because you're a part of the church, not any of this stuff. It all has to do with what you do with Jesus. So at this point, I think I'm filibustering a little bit. Not filibustering, but I'm rambling. And I got to get ready to go to work. But take a look at Romans chapter 9. Don't be so sure. And Paul says this too. You think you're sure because you've been grafted in, and you boasting against branches that are natural. He's talking about Israel. Israel is natural branches. So, beware of all y'all replacement, theorists out there that say we replace Israel and yada, yada, yada. Paul got something for you too. In Romans, he says, don't boast against the natural, the natural branches that come out of the tree. And I'll just leave it at that. I can go on and on, but people don't really like to talk about deep things. They just, like to deal with the surface kind of things. Not a lot of people want to study, but that's a whole nother thing in and of itself. But I just wanted to come on here and say that. Go read Romans chapter 9, especially with all this talk of the Hebrew Israelites and everything. Like, all you got to do is read your word. The word itself destroys what they believe. Anyways.